5+3+4 system. So as I had mentioned, the content to be reduced, more focus should be there on critical thinking. There should be focus on multilingualism, where Sanskrit as one of the classical languages to be taught to the children at all levels, and foreign languages at a secondary level. There's also a mention within it to revise the curriculum every 5 years to make it very contemporary and comprehensive, and of course to make the performative assessments more action based rather than dependent on rote learning and a one time play of a child's destiny. It is also talking about bringing in the National Testing Agency to do all the testing for entrance examinations for higher education institutes, integrating vocational education with the mainstream education at all levels. And every state will be setting up a state school standard authority board, and all the new private schools will have to take a license to start a school from this particular body at the state level. This is a very important thing, that it is going to ask a new review of the right to education policy in the light of this new NEP that has come into being. So we are also looking at here the standalone teacher training institutes, which it is talking about to shut down and only function as a part of the multidisciplinary colleges and university system by 2030, a 4-year integrated B.Ed program or a 2 years B.Ed program post-graduation. Admission otherwise into a 4-year B.Ed program after clearing the entrance, which is going to be conducted by the NTA, the National Testing Agency. The National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education to be revised by the end of this year, and thereafter to be reviewed after every 5 years. Thus, NEP is mainly talking about making learning experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry-driven, discovery-oriented, learner-centered, dialogue-based, flexible, and indeed enjoyable. I would like to now focus on the assessment reforms and the transformation that it is suggesting in the assessment techniques. It is talking about assessment as a tool to improve one's concept. Assessment of learning to know whether we have achieved the learning outcomes and be able to bridge the gap. Assessment for learning to help the children evolve lucidity in the ideas that they have been able to develop and generate. Then it is talking about redesigning the exam pattern, and we are all aware of the only exam that matters is the grade 10 and the grade 12 level exam, which is the board exam. So it is talking about establishing National Assessment Center for School Education, which will help in setting learning standards and advising boards on examination reforms. It is talking about reforming this examination system by 2022-2023. It is also talking about building in a reform in the board examination to reduce the role of the coaching centers, which of course have decimated, I personally believe, the entire culture of learning in the senior secondary school levels. And it is also talking about, bringing down the stakes of the board exam, which wherein it may be conducted twice in a year. Then very importantly, it is also talking about state level boards where they would be able to conduct exams at the level of grade 3, grade 5, and grade 8 for tracking the progress in the learning outcomes which are attained at every stage of the child's learning curve. Thus, it is talking about assessments to map learning outcomes based on the core concept taught, the higher order thinking skills developed, and the real life knowledge application that has gone while teaching to the child. There is a talk about all this can only come about if we are going to look at a redesign of the report card, which is, of course, a 360-degree holistic report card, which becomes the link between the home and the school, followed by PTMs for active parent participation in their child's learning. So school exam results to be mainly used for developmental purposes of school education and for monitoring and improvement of the school learning outcome. Very importantly, NEP lays emphasis on the values and traditions which should be a part of the learning trajectory of a child. Ethics, which should be expanded in this along the themes of explaining to the children how it is wrong to indulge in cheating, violence, plagiarism, littering in the compound, discrimination of any form, or being intolerant. Then it also emphasizes on building traditional Indian values by encouraging reading from the original stories of the Panchatantra, the Jataks, the Hitopdesh, and other fun fables. Thereby, it really emphasizes on building human and constitutional values like empathy, equality, justice, freedom, and liberty. Most importantly, as CBSE has already done, Manu Darpan, I'm sure most of us are aware of, the emphasis on the holistic health of an individual, which is an area which we have known is totally under underrated and not even mentioned. But NEP itself talks about the health of an individual. And here we are looking at all the stakeholders, the physical health of an individual, which can be built in through the indigenous sports, training in good health, nutrition, personal and public hygiene workshops can be conducted. The emotional health can be and must be taken care of through the school counseling and through the school counselor for both and all parents, teachers, and students, and be able to identify the problem, listen to the child's problem, create goals to facilitate positive changes in a child, brainstorm these alternatives together with the counselor and the student, thereby motivating the child to show a positive attitude, thereby emphasizing and underscoring the need to recognize the importance of the mental health. And I think NEP is desiring a change mainly in the mindset of us all, the mindset of all the stakeholders, wherein we have our schools and parents and students and the teachers. NEP is thus building upon creating and reiterating, developing learning as a process, education as an end in itself, and not seen only as a means to an end of attaining employability. The courage to be given to the children that learning is a process, building upon oneself is a process to build the idea of a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset in our children. This is seen in a way that we help the child persevere in the face of failure, know that the effort is imperative to build a new skill. It is not innate, it has to be developed, to find inspiration in seeing others succeed in their lives and not be jealous and competitive, to embrace challenges, accept criticism, and always cherish and develop the desire to learn. These are the very, very important aspect which NEP is stating. So we often, and we may have this question, is NEP moving in the right direction? In my understanding, yes, it is a policy document which has stated its intention of the policy makers, and they endeavor to build an education system keeping in mind the requirements of the 21st century learner. With this, I would like to thank you all for your patience, and thank you to all the panelist speakers and to Mr. Rajul. Thank you.
Thank you, Richa ma'am, for sharing these key highlights of NEP in such an amazing way. You talked about how NEP offers flexibility in choosing or in defining the new learning trajectory. You talked about that it has a potential to to take our education system from rote learning based system to the that critical, thinking based or competency based education system. You also, made your assessment that NEP talks about, uh, uh, it is talking about bringing a huge change in the pattern of assessment. It has a potential to tackle gender and insensitivity. You also highlighted, and you said like NEP will bring a huge reform to assessment. It proposes a continuous, assessment rather than a traditional set of assessments. You also talked about that NEP encourages a pedagogical shift where students, shall be empowered to find solutions on their own instead of just looking for answers or some set of answers from their teachers or their parents. You also talked about, and that's very unique to learn that it talks about encouragement of indigenous sport, and so that's quite appreciative. And you also believe that content need to be reduced. NEP also talks about that, and revision in every 5 year would keep our syllabus, would keep our entire system into in that contemporary mode. So thank you, Richa ma'am, for highlighting these important points from NEP, for decoding these points for us. So thank you for that, and thank you for saying Rajul, in the end. So thank you, Richa ma'am. Now I would request Garima Pandey ma'am. I'll come back to you, Richa ma'am, with questions. Now I would request Garima Pandey ma'am, your interpretation.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Please allow me to share my presentation by sharing a slide with you all. Is it visible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good afternoon, everyone. Now, today I'm going to be speaking about National Education Policy 2020. So today I would be taking up curriculum and pedagogical aspect of National Education Policy, while how the curriculum and pedagogical aspects needs to be integrated into the school education system so that they can align themselves for the new education policy. So before we venture into discussion about the salient features and the underlying principles of the new education policy, let us understand what is the vision of new education policy. As we all know that we are born in a world which is rapidly changing, and we need to prepare our children for the job which doesn't really exist today. And it is really important for our children to know what to learn and how to learn. So keeping all these view in perspective, the new education policy aims at bridging the gap between current state of learning outcomes and what is required by student as 21st century skills to scale to excel in the global arena. Now talking about few of the key highlights of National Education Policy 2020. There is a provision for respect and diversity and local context. There is a provision for equity and inclusion in the new education policy. A lot of emphasis is being laid on competency-based learning. There is also a unique provision for honing the capabilities and innate talent of each and every child. There is emphasis on critical thinking, conceptual understanding. There is a lot of focus and emphasis on community participation. And at the end, teachers are directed to use ICT and tools of technology in day-to-day learning and teaching as much as possible. Now, talking about the path-breaking change that is being introduced by new education policy is reconfiguring the school curriculum and pedagogy, and that is assigned a new nomenclature, that is 5+3+3+4, which actually refers to the number of years that is being spent in at different stages of learning life in school. The first stage is referred as foundational stage, and next is preparatory stage, and the other one is middle stage, and then secondary stage. Here, one very important fact to notice is that there is no segregation between secondary school and senior secondary school now. And a child could even be allowed to leave the school after grade 10th, and then the child could re-enter into school ecosystem in grade 11th with his choice of subjects. And different pedagogical skills and different teaching techniques needs to be followed at different stages of life. Like for foundational skills, it has to be activity-based teaching. For preparatory skill, it is all about discovery-based teaching and activity-based teaching. Middle school is entirely about experiential learning, and secondary stage when child actually acquires in-depth knowledge of the subject. So it is the stage of multidisciplinary study, and it is at this particular stage that child decides for his career aspirations as well. So a lot of emphasis is being laid by new education policy at the secondary stage, which starts from age of 14 to 18 years. Now, talking from students' perspective about the curriculum and pedagogy. Now, new education policy, it emphasizes on reducing the curriculum to its core essential in order to make space for critical thinking, interactive classrooms, and experiential learning. And there is also a provision for empowering students by giving them flexibility in choosing their subjects. Now, there is a, as it has already been said by all the panelists, that there is a paradigm shift in teaching learning processes. When we say paradigm shift, that means we are moving away from chalk and board methods of learning. Teachers need to come out of their comfort zones, and they need to make the classrooms as happy learning spaces. And when we talk about innovative pedagogies, we talk about experiential learning, we talk about integrated pedagogies, which deals at length with integrating arts, sports, and storytelling methods in classroom teaching. It is assumed that students, they learn best when they learn from their friends. So promotion of peer tutoring is also given due emphasis in this new teaching pedagogy. And there are no silos, there are no watertight compartments between curricular, extracurricular, and vocational studies, and all these segments are given equal weightage in new policy. Now, there is also a provision for bagless days, and the school calendar should have a provision for these bagless days when students would come to school and just enjoy by engaging in certain experiential learning. And at last but not the least, when talking about innovative pedagogies, we need to understand how important it is to use the ICT or tools of technology in day-to-day teaching and learning in the classrooms. I would like to share a quote for this, as it is said that in times to come, technology is going to replace the teacher. But what I believe is teachers are never to be replaced by the technology. But definitely teachers who are using the technology are going to replace the teachers who don't know how to use the technology. So use and integration of technology in day-to-day teaching in classroom is one of the very important factors, and teachers need to do the judicious usage of it. Now, let's discuss in detail experiential learning and its implication in classroom teaching. So the new education policy, it really reinforces and it talks at length about experiential learning. What is experiential learning? It is basically engaging a child in an activity or experience and then allowing the child to gain knowledge or skills from that experience. That is taking a child to the abstract conceptualization of the subject by engagement in an activity. So through all stages of learning, experiential learning is reinforced in new policy. And while we talk about experiential learning, a lot of focus has been laid upon art integration and sports integration as well. When we talk about art integration, it is not only for the purpose of turning classrooms into happy spaces, it is also about enabling our children to know about the art and culture of our country, to enable them to learn about Indian ethos. So art integration is one of the very important factors of new education policy. Coming to next is that sports integration, which talks about utilizing some physical activities in the classroom, which actually enables a child to learn a variety of skills like collaboration, team spirit, citizenship, and all. And talking about other important factors in national education policy, a lot of flexibility would be given to the students in choosing their curriculum in times to come. And there would be introduction of contemporary subjects like artificial intelligence and design thinking as well. Knowledge of India is one of the very important factors, as we all know that India is emerging out as the world power in times to come. And we all, at least our students, they need to know and learn what it means to be an Indian and be proud of it. So it is given due importance and space in new education policy. And there is also a provision for training in health, hygiene, disaster response, which is very relevant in today's times. Now, talking about holistic development of the learners, as we've already discussed, there is a shift in teaching and learning processes in the classroom. So here teachers would be promoting the critical and creative thinking in the classrooms. There would be shift in the processes of assessments from traditional methods of assessment to 360-degree methods of assessment. integration of tools and of technology in the classroom would be given due importance. And when we talk about preparing our children for tomorrow, we need to understand how important it is to upskill our students about in 21st century skills. What are these skills? These are like life skills, career skills, information and media skills, learning and innovation skills. So we really need to understand the importance of upskilling our students with 21st century skills. At the same time, our students need to have great command upon the core subject as well to excel in the life. Now, acknowledging the importance of language in development of child, as well as the pivotal role which is played by languages in enhancing the learning outcomes. So, keeping that in purview, the new education policy it instructs that medium of instruction, at least till grade 8, has to be the home language or the home language, regional language, or the mother tongue of the child. Language formula would be implemented, but there would be greater flexibility for the state to work the language, and projects or activity like on topics like languages of India and Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat is another initiative of multilingualism. But teaching of languages would actually be based on experiential learning pedagogical methods. Now, talking about equitable and inclusive education. As we all know that our new education policy aims at bringing gender and social category gaps. Students, no matter what, to which category they belong to, no matter whether they are young or they are the children with special need, or they come from lower strata of the societies, they are from SC, ST or OBCs, they would be given equal opportunities to learn and participate in mainstream education system. Now, on one end of the spectrum, there is a provision for inclusive education, and on the other end, there is a provision for the gifted or talented student. This is one of the very remarkable initiative that is taken by the new education policy. Here provisions are made to support the special talent of the students in every way possible. Schools will be instructed to give support to such students even beyond curriculums. And certain clubs and circles would be made, and they would be encouraged. Olympiads would be conducted across the country, and with the use of technology, such students would be enriched. Now, we've discussed at length how the teaching and classroom interaction would be according to the recommendations by new education policy. Now, talking about the assessment, which is another important aspect with regard to the new education policy, one can see that there is a complete shift in the assessment process as well. Now, the assessment has to be holistic. Assessment has to be comprehensive. There is a child has to be assessed and evaluated from all different dimensions. There is a shift from rote learning to higher order thinking skill, and the assessment would be accordingly done. So the report card will be holistic and multidimensional, though the board examination would continue to be there, but there would be more flexibility for the child. Assessment of uniqueness of every learner would also be considered in times to come. And in times to come, AI-based software will also be introduced to track the progress of child, and it will also enable a child to decide for his career options by giving them insightful ideas. Now, with this, I have reached to the end of my presentation. I would like to convey my thanks to everybody by sharing a quote. Education is improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Garima ma'am, for explaining us these important highlights of NEP. You talked about that NEP is keeping an eye on future. It emphasizes upon the Indianization of education. In fact, a lot of many eminent participants have also maintained that India's contribution to world I would say education was ignored so far. This NEP makes a very serious effort in giving that recognition. You also talked about that NEP would create an environment for the holistic development of learners. You also talked about the upskilling of students with 21st age of skills. You also mentioned that NEP aims providing that equitable and inclusive education to all. You also talked about a lot of initiatives which are there to encourage gifted students. be it various project-based clubs or different kind of initiatives. And you also talked about in length about the assessment, which has got a great attention in national education policy. How that assessment would be would encourage for a 360-degree holistic assessment for our students. So thank you, Garima ma'am, for explaining these important areas for us. I'll come back to you with questions. Thank you. Now, with this, I would request Homi ma'am, ma'am, if we can have your ideas, your perspective.
Okay. So once again, a big hello to you all. And at the outset, let me express my gratitude to Mr. Rajul on behalf of all of us so that we are here to decode the national education policy through technology to brainstorm, seek suggestions critically and creatively with empathy and confidence to ensure an effective implementation of the National Education Policy 2020. Before I actually get on to that, I've really been impressed by all the presentations that you people have made. I did try to copy, I didn't have the phone to click it, but I would appreciate if you share. That was really very well done. Anyway, the top priority of this policy should be to ensure health and safety of its children at all levels, protect them from being abused both within and outside their homes, even in schools. Encourage communication, learn to listen, and understand, not to reply. Now that we have a policy, let's get down to the nitty gritties of this noble task involving only those who are actually associated with the little ones, who understand them and listen to the child's plea. Can you teach me the way I can learn? That's exactly what CC tried to do. It was ruthlessly murdered, I think, by those who resisted change, or apparently teachers were not effectively trained. My style of teaching has always been CC type, though the term CC was not available then. My teachers in school had also taught me through this CC style. On the contrary, interactive English, which was introduced in early 80s, continues to stay till date. Why? Because it was launched after extensive spade work. Same is expected out of this so that we try it, test it, and give it time before it is finally implemented. The national challenge with global perspective calls for thorough analysis and assessment, monitoring of the existing situations before putting it into practice, a curriculum and pedagogy as per the 21st century essentials. Moral education is now a necessity. NEP 20 is basically a good and a very well thought of document. It should not overlook socio-economic and lack of resources issue in rural and underdeveloped cities. With emphasis on the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, this policy is aligned to 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and aims to transform India into a knowledgeable superpower. One of the salient features is the shift from the 10 plus 2 pattern to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, keeping in mind that the maximum development of the brain takes place till the age of 6. Formal education of a 3-year-old may not be a very good idea. Greater clarity is required for 0-3 and 3-6 age group. I'm not very comfortable with school exams in grades 3 and 5, though class 8 may be okay. 360 report card takes care of all other aspects of a child's personality. This policy lays emphasis on mother tongue, local or regional language as a medium of instruction till grade 5 and preferably 8 and even beyond with Sanskrit at all levels. What about the global language, which is also the linked language of our own country? What happens to the global perspective? Wasn't the three language formula good enough? Project on Languages of India, Ek Bharat Shresht Bharat, is rather worthwhile. ISL, sign language for hearing impaired, to be standardized. What about the other impairments? About 2 crore dropouts to be brought in the mainstream. NIOS would be a great support, even in adult literacy and life enrichment programs. Smooth, seamless shift from nursery to primary can be brought about by 3 months of transition period. This is something like the bridge course which NCRT Delhi had prepared. Inclusion of skill development, child centered, cultural, artistic, musical development is eagerly looked forward to. Enjoy developing your hobby and even get paid. And that tackles the problem of unemployment. Poor performance in later life can be traced down to the foundational level. Research shows that lawbreakers have had no early childhood care and education. We have a lot of expectation from this policy, knowing that it is full of challenges like poverty, increasing population, shortage of Anganwadis and trained teachers, and lack of basic amenities like toilets. Need for providing reflection, research, and providing guidelines for the style and concept of imparting literacy and numeracy is greatly felt. An important point to note is that the proposed changes are generally curricular in nature and not at the level of the physical faculties for early childhood care and development. A PEC or physical education cards can be used to bring in integrated, interdisciplinary learning with scientific temper, like the CBSEI curriculum, with reduced curriculum, experiential and experimental blended learning through constructive approach, spoon feeding, and rote learning can be out. The growth of coaching centers right from the elementary level will be checked. Once the marks oriented system of education is replaced by this new policy, students' talk time will then be more than the teacher talk time. Sorry. With right attitude, skill, and knowledge, an effective teacher can identify and nurture the talent in each child to ensure a system of learning based on values, dignity of labor, cleanliness, honesty, and respect, and then making connections. All this, sorry, all this and a lot more can be achieved only by a teacher who needs to be empowered and regularly taken care of and trained. NEP needs to focus on the creation of a healthy, happy, and a confident child. Try out of box creative activities. Like at our school, we had compulsory fruit eating, both by teachers and students, which resulted in better health and no anemic child. Project Tiffin, dancing during the break to check crowdism, was successfully tried out. It sensitized our students and also involved parents in many community based projects. List is endless. Doing all this in a village would be a big challenge. Anyway, to sum up, we aim at holistic development of a child, addressing the head, heart, and hand, creating balance between a child and community as the basic right of every child. Revision after every 5 years is very important. I greatly look forward to it, to the change of the content. We've been using these chapters year after year. We deleted them, they were brought back again. What a pity. Anyway, what do we live for? What do we work for? What do we educate if it is not to make life less difficult and more interesting for others? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Homi ma'am. for talking about all these points. You talked about how this NEP, makes serious efforts to, to check on the various existing problems. You also talked about that CC got failed due to our general mindset of resisting change. You also, talked about why the exams at third and, fifth standard are not that encouraging. And you also talked about the importance of a newly proposed report card, that how it would cover all other aspects. You also talked about different initiatives. You know, uh,
You're on mute. Can't tell.
okay, I just myself went on mute. So you also shared the focus on Anganwadis shows the serious intention of the policymakers. And you talked about those uh, that we need more talk time for students, less talk time for teachers, and
Yeah.
this NEP gives us a hope that we are going to achieve that. So thank you, Homi ma'am, for joining and for sharing your such a valuable thoughts with your experience. So thank you, Homi ma'am. I'll come back to you with questions. Now, with this, I would request Dr. Pandey, if we can have your ideas.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I started good morning. Now it's become good afternoon to all of you. And it's a really very important topic that we are discussing, and all the panelists already cover all the important aspect of new education policy. So regarding new education policy, I will start with some of the highlights. And this is a transformation in the education system in our country, and this we need because this urgently we need. Why? Because one example that I give you, in the past, country like India, we have like a different wings of engineering. Somebody who are doing mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, EC engineering, computer science engineering, and people were getting a job. But what happened with the time on the demand? Because now there is no matter of a country, because everyone represents the education or whatever on the global level, because we are competing, we are educating, we are getting the training at the international and at the global level. So what is happening right now, the people who have the like mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, very difficult to find out a good job, because what is happening right now, like artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these new things are coming. And if you are not trained in this engineering, and if you have not a tendency to integrate all this engineering together, then it's going to be very difficult with the time. Other example that I gave you in the past, if I remember like 15 years back, there was a Nokia mobile. It was very popular. Everyone having the Nokia mobile. Okay. And because look, and then after that, you can see now a smartphone came, have Samsung, many companies came to the picture. And now you see that this is a global competition. But what happened? That the Nokia company had not competed very well. They were not prepared with the time. And that's why you can see that how and what is the real picture and what is the situation of this competition. This is one example that I am sharing with you. Another way in the new education policy, what the talk that we are discussing today right now, because still this is just my perspective, we are in very beginning step, because this is a plan of government of India, and this is just in the initial step. According to India, I was reading through, I found it that it is going to implement in 2022. Still, this is the first draft that we have ready. Congratulations to the team. We are
Sir, you gone on mute, sir.
okay. Sorry. So, am I audible? Yeah. So there are some important highlights that I would like to cover in new education policy, like a school education, higher education, teacher education, professional education, National Research Foundation, education technology, now the vocational technology, vocational education, promotion of Indian language, and the major thing is the financing education system. That is the concern of new education policy. Country like India, where most of the people who are living in the rural area, and still we don't have a proper schools, we don't have proper infrastructure. Okay, this is a dream, but the question is how we are going to train our teacher there in the, and what about the higher education? Other than that, one example that most of the time in the like I am very much sure that the private school in the urban area, they are ready to accept this new education policy, and they are very adaptable. But the major problem for the government school. Now the question is, who is going to train them? Like here, I am thankful to the school Lalaji that they are organizing this event. We are debating each other, and by seeing the PowerPoint presentation each other, and we are able to know that what it mean by the new education policy. But the major question is that the people who are living far side in the rural area, how we are going to train the teacher? If we don't have the trained teacher, then how the teacher is going to train the student in the school, in the primary school? More than that, finance is the major problem, because if you don't have a good financial system to support the school, to the teacher, then how we are going to have a proper good outcome? But these are the problem. But other than that, the new education policy that they are hopeful, and they are going to bring the vocational education. Hopefully, that is going to bring a new job in the market. As for my experience in the past, because in India we have a trend of doctors and engineer, like when the students are studying in the very primary stage, their parents and their relatives, their friends want that my children one day to be doctor or one day to be engineer, and they take their initiative in that line. And what happened with the time, because competition is too much in India due to our population. Some of the students don't qualify all the medical exam or the engineering exam. So what happened when the biological student, when they were dreaming for the to be a doctor, and if somehow they were not qualified to be a doctor, then there was a course that was before 2000, like biotechnology, that was started in India. And this is a type of vocational education. And what happened that it was somehow the people who have not qualified, they were doing the biotechnology and getting a job. So hopefully in new education policy in the future, if they can bring more vocational education and can give some more job and more scientific way of teaching, because most of the school we have the theory class but we don't have the practical. Because when you have the scientific experiment and the theory class together, this is the scientific proof that the person can remember the theory if you have the practical together for a longer duration of time. So if we can have a proper infrastructure school who having a good laboratory where the student can conduct the experiment together, hopefully that can bring a new talent, new scientific way, because you can see in this time a small virus, coronavirus, last 1 year, everyone, including India, we are suffering. Everything has been locked down. Everybody talking about the vaccine. Okay, and who will bring? So this require a talent, this require a reformation in the education system. I am very much hopeful that new education policy will transform our India, and we will support whatever we can do. So this is my view regarding this. Wish for the best.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey. And you rightly emphasize upon the importance of vocational skills. In fact, many of the educators who have participated, they have also maintained that, without creating, I would say, a very transparent, a very strong connect between school education and higher education, we are not going to get the desired fruits. So thank you, Dr. Pandey, for that. And now I would request Jaswinder sir, sir, if we can have your perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much. And after hearing to the edu leaders, some of my thoughts have got clear endorsement, and I'm so thankful that what we are thinking is what most of the education leaders are talking about. Let me take up certain excerpts from what the edu leaders, the panelists who've spoken before me have talked about. Rashmi ma'am, you did talk about reading. You did talk about how reading is not happening. Very true, ma'am. Even Dr. Richard talked about reading. We have realized, we work with more than 1 million students every year with 3,000 schools that we work with. Our annual reports, that when we go through them, we analyze them, we realize that reading as a habit is not being formed. So what we did this year is we brought in a library which was digital, because physical books, when they go home, they do go home, but no guarantee that students are reading. So the first step that we implemented is that we send them digital books. They can hear them, and then they record them. When they record them, at least they read them. And when they listen to their own recordings, that is where the love for reading comes in. So the whole important part, right, ma'am, is that how do we bring in that love for reading? If I have time, if I am able to finish this within 10 minutes, I'll show you what we do there. That is one thing. Second thing is Dr. Richa Prakash, Dr. and Garima ma'am also spoke about storytelling. You know, we have, as Indians, at what we used to do earlier, our grandmas, our nannies used to narrate stories to us. These nuclear families of ours have taken the nannies and the grandmas away from us. And even if we have, we don't then get them in the language that we want. So important is storytelling. So what we've realized, if you want students for early literacy comes in only if they start liking it, loving it. So storytelling is important. What we've done is we've picked up 4 or 5 storytellers. We have shot their videos on how that is, and we are giving that to schools. Rashmi ma'am, you said that you come from the army background. You said that when you were 20, you had started teaching the wives of the Jawans. Let me share with you, ma'am. There is a section here which is known as the White Tiger Army Skill Training Center in Jhansi. There, what they're doing is they are training the wives of all the Jawans and even the kids. And very proud to say that they're using our software. We are a tech company across India. Around 90 plus army schools are using the product, basically to bring in interest. You see, what I say is language, when we talk about literacy, it'll come only and only if the child starts liking it, loving and find it very interesting. So how do we make that interesting is something very important that was taken up. Garima ma'am did also talk about Sanskrit, the classical language. And before that, I'm going to get this point also. Homi ma'am, you also talked about Sanskrit. Let's understand what is happening. NEP 2020 says that in the early foundation years, our kids should be taught in the language of, their own mother language, their regional language. Excellent thing done. You see, when we were kids, when we were struggling to understand English or comprehend that, we were not able to understand or comprehend those basic core subjects. Very good that we need to bring in these local languages. The three language system is good. Early foundation years, that should be taken up. But then there's a question, what about English? No problems. A child till the age of 8 can acquire up to 5 languages. So why can't they have the local language and English and the other language, that is the classical language, at the same time? So this is possible. In fact, there's a study which says that if a child speaks 3 or more languages, the brain works better. It is all the more good that we bring in more languages in the early years. You see, what they have to understand is that Indian heritage, local heritage, is there in the local and the classical languages. When we are talking about that, we are trying to become a more nationalist. That is important. We need to think more about a country, love it more. The love is only up to the heart, it has to be in the brain also. So for there, we as Indians need to know what is there, and that will come through the local language, the local heritage, and Sanskrit or Tamil, which is also a classical language, how to work on that. It is also, we have developed a lab for Sanskrit learning, the first lab in the world for teaching Sanskrit. And when we were developing that, we realized that Sanskrit is a very logical language, logical in terms of mathematical. And someone would ask, what do you mean by mathematics in language? You see, each word, the spellings, the letters, there's a region, there's a formula why a letter comes after the other letter. All that is there in Sanskrit. So it is a very good idea to, you know, bring in such languages, make students understand that Sanskrit, or make students love Sanskrit as a language. It is important. So I'm very glad that this has happened. Very glad that we are talking about all these things and some important points onto them. The other thing is, when people, again, I will reiterate that yes, Hindi is our country's language. We have state languages, but English should not be ignored. We can't have students acquiring English after coming to standard 8th. NEP also says that the schools have a choice to teach in English. Foundation years, core subjects like mathematics and science, teach them in the local language. Have all three languages as higher level languages. Why should we have a higher level and a lower level language? If I am in Gujarat, Gujarati is the higher level language and English is the lower language. Why? Why can't English and Gujarati and Hindi be at the same level? So that is something that we're looking at, and I hope what is there in the policy schools understand, because this will bring in a challenge. How would a school be able to get in so many teachers? How do you teach so many subjects? As it is, there are so many subjects. Now we are talking about three languages. The answer to that is technology. Since I come from the technology background, answer to all the challenges that we are going to face or that we are looking into is technology. Uh, Dr. Pandey did talk about there's a huge requirement of teacher training. Yes, it is. If we are going to get 2 crore more students into the mainstream learning, we need to have, they say 50 new schools every week. How are we going to do? Technology. How are we going to reach the rural part? Technology. We've already done that without having much of technology, just with the use just a mobile phone. If the teachers were able to teach, internet through mobile phones is there across the country. If it is not there, 10% of the country doesn't have internet. If the government is able to do that, we will be able to teach our teachers who are going to further go teach our students. So that should not be a problem. Government is already putting it, and bringing in ICT into the classrooms was a very important thing. It started 6 years back, 10 years back by private companies, but government realized. I myself have been a part of a lot of edtech companies. This is important because you will not be able to train all the teachers the way the students need them. Understand one important thing. Our students are learning faster than our teachers. You will, as teachers, never be able to cope up with them. So teachers will have to take support of technology. From being teachers, they'll have to become facilitators. We've been talking about flipped classrooms. What are they? They are technology enabled learning. Where I tell you, normally, if I had to take something, if tomorrow I have a session on volcanoes, I would go into the class pre-prepared with a textbook and start talking about it. And the kids will just listen to it, and they will listen to what I am telling. So I am telling them what to listen, which should not be there. If you're talking about critical thinking, right? What we need to tell them is, tomorrow I'm going to talk about volcanoes. I want each one of you to get me 10 lines on volcanoes. The students will straight Google it out. Unfortunately, edu leaders, I'm want to say, they will not be able to find 10 lines on the internet. They will find 10,000 lines. They have to learn to scan it and skim it and scan it, and then find out what is it that they would want to do. Let them use their brains, let them know what they want, and then bring it to the classroom, and each and every child then discusses in a peer group learning, which we call as experiential learning, right? So they can always discuss, and what the teacher does is stands there and becomes a facilitator. So it is, what we have to understand is, we cannot have teachers knowing everything. It's too much to ask for. Let me give you another example. Our teachers, all of us, we are almost the same age. So our teachers, at their time, the syllabus or the curricula used to change every decade, 10 years, right? teachers today, the same kinds of teachers, the same ladies with 24 hours, with the husband, with kids, with father-in-law, mother-in-law, and whatnot problems at home, and same 24 hours. How do we expect them to learn more? So the answer is technology. So what we need to do when we start teacher training, first teach them how to use the right kind of tools to look for things and to where to look for it. Teachers need not know everything. There are tools to help teachers teach, but they need to know basic computing skills, basic skills on how to find out details, how to work on them, and how to present things. So if this is something that is taken up, I am sure our teachers will be able to do a very, very good job. Yeah. Now, what I would want to do is for a second, just since I talked about reading and for your information, I have never read a single sheet of a page in my life at a time. I never developed that. So I realized how much I have lost in life. So as a company, we are promoting a lot of digital libraries as a part of this. I would just like to show you, it'll take me a second to show that. I will not go much in details. If I get into this, if you look at this, we have this, are you able to see the screen, everybody?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes,
Is
yes,
it?
we can see.
Okay, okay. So what we have done, we basically are a language lab company, but we have actually put up libraries into this. Libraries, we've got around 10 levels. I'm just showing you 3 levels. Each level has got around 15 books. So 150 books is what we are talking about. And when we talk about this, we give them the feeling of, an actual book. They can skip through the book. Okay, they can flip through that. What more we do is we tell them, okay, you want to feel like that? Before you read a book, you listen to the book.
It
Just a
was a
little bit.
Sunday. Norbu was very
What we also do is tell them, okay, now we want you to read. So when we have to read, we ask them to record it. So let me do a little bit for this. It was a Sunday. Norbu was very happy. And what they do is they can listen to the audio. It was a Sunday. Norbu was very happy. Right? So basic what we're doing is we're giving them storybooks. And what happens is when they read these books, they actually come back and, sorry, okay, have I stopped presenting? Yeah. So what we do is we make them read such storybooks, and each child has to read 15 books in a year. Not only that, we also give them things like this. We give them to make their own dictionaries. What we do is create your own dictionary, blank dictionaries. We tell them that when you read these books, if you come across a word which is difficult, don't Google. Don't worry. Go Google it. Find out the meaning, the grammar form, the synonyms, the antonyms, the usage, and in this way they learn how to learn how to find out things on their own. So basic point what we're talking about is when we talk about literacy, a lot of focus has to be on languages. We need not worry which language they start with, but need to have all the languages. At least the 3 language formula is something which is very, very important for them. What also happens with these libraries, these books, when the students record it, they go to the teacher. The teacher can listen and give them remarks. So what
Right.
we've done is actually trying to get these things put onto. I understand that's a signal that I'm overshooting. So what my point was, NEP is a great, great, great policy. We all need to put whatever we have to do it and take it to the next level. And one important thing is let's believe in the policymakers, makers who have developed this or written this policy. They're all teachers themselves. Thank you, Rajulji, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir, for sharing that. Now, I would request our last speaker for the session, Sunil Dangiji or Sunilji. I'll welcome you. I would request if we can have your perspective.
Thank you, Rajul, and thanks. I'll try to. We are already running of time, then I'll try to wrap it as soon as possible. So, as Jaswinder sir was telling that the child should know that how to find out the good thing for themselves, right? So the new education policy has given extra wings to the child, and that is now they will be choosing the subjects instead of the stream. And as there will be more options will be available to them, and the confusions will be higher. So in order to resolve those confusions, we are working on that. How the basic purpose of education is to find out a right career for themselves, so that a person can remain happy throughout the life. So if whatever we are studying, and if you are not choosing the right career for ourselves, then there is no use of that education. 90% of us, what we are doing, we did not study that. We did not plan it. and we landed up here. So that's how it happened. But if the things would have happened in a little scientific way, we would have enjoyed, or we would have been at the epitome of the things which we wanted to do. So what I'll do is I'll just share the screen. What is the problem with the existing system, and how our solution is how our solution is removing that problem. So just allow me to share the screen. And Rajul, can you see my screen? Rajul, can you see my screen? Is there anyone who can respond me that you are able to do?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Now,
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
sir, we can see.
Yeah, this is the name of the organization. That's eMango, Education Management on the Go. So we are trying to solve a problem, and the problem statement is the conventional ways of choosing the career seems to be not the best way. And the problem, the way the child choose a career, that is the career is chosen under the influence or the guidance of the parents, peers, society, family, teachers. But now the question is that we cannot expect everything from a teacher, right? They are, so it is are these people, those who are guiding the child, are they aware of all the career options exist? Do they understand the importance of the aptitude, personality, and interest and emotional intelligence of the child? And this personality and interests are not just the dictionary meaning. There are books has been written on these two words by the psychologist. So if this is the way the careers are chosen, now the problem, because if you're choosing a career under the guidance or influence of the person who does not know all the career option, those who does not understand the importance of aptitude, personality, and interest, and they do not know even the optimal path to reach at the epitome of a particular career. So there, जिसको अगर हम ऐसे आदमी से गाइड ले रहे हैं जिसको ये सब पता ही नहीं है, तो मिस्टेक तो होनी ही है. There is no doubt about it, right? So what is happening is, because of choosing the career in this way, it is leading to the dropouts. It is leading to unemployable degree holders. It is leading to the restlessness, and in the rare and circumstances, it could also lead to the suicide. And these are the facts for it. There are around 2,500 students dropped after taking admission into IITs. This is a Hindu news. 95% of the engineering degree holders are not fit for job. This is a Times news. भारत में 1.5 घंटे में एक बच्चा सुसाइड कर लेता है. So this is the situation. So a student is suiciding. And this is, there could be a lot of reason for such kind of things as not choosing the career in a right way. So now the thing is that this is the problem. The solution should be that one should explore the careers. Then after exploring the career, finding the best fit for themselves, that can be done through the scientific tool, psychometric assessment, and then the reports. Now the question is that already these things exist on the internet, but the way the solution is being proposed, that's not right way. So I'll explain you that why it is not the right way. We have been doing the R&D for last 2.5 years, that how we can make a solution easy and how the people will understand. This is our team. This is Professor Purnima. She's a very renowned psychologist. Dr. Vijay, he's in France. And there are a lot of, these are few schools, those are connected with us. Now I would like to directly take you to the student portal. So this is, and we have taken care of, as I was telling, the problem is the child does not know the careers. So this is a career library where a child can explore all the careers. They can filter it by stream, they can filter it by subjects. And the information which you are putting, the information is not, this is not a boring information. This is an audio visual information, the way we are putting it. So this is the way we are putting the information. All the information about the career, that what you do in that career. And
are you someone who has solid analytical and planning skills and good imagination? Do you have knowledge of market?
Every information about this,
some of the famous
what are the colleges, what are the entrance exams?
Such exams require a high level of
And the parents need when the child will pass out, what will the job prospects, what will the salaries. So every information, which college, which everything is there. If a child like this career, they can shortlist, they can put it there on a kind of cart. Now similarly, now the question is, after exploring the career, question is, what is the best fit for me? To find out the best fit, this is the question we generally keep on asking from the child. Aap kya banna chahte ho? But no one is guiding. This is the E-man that it will help the child. A child can take a test and what the stream he want to choose the career. And we are putting the information in such an easy way that this whole platform is a multilingual. Even the parents, and this is the report of the child, that which is the best fit career for the child based on their aptitude and interest. And this report is in an audio visual format. This is in a multilingual. ये हिंदी में भी है, पंजाबी में भी है, और मतलब बहुत सारी other languages में है. So
numerical aptitude is the ability to understand numerical values quickly and make logical and accurate conclusions.
So this is the way we are putting the information for the child. And after finding explore, find the best fit for yourself. Now where to take the admission, all the details of the colleges available. Say for a science student, what are the colleges available, what is the admission criteria, what is the NIRF ranking, what is the fees. You can shortlist this, and you can keep on getting the automatic notification from our end that when the form is opening and all this information. What are the exams for law? What are the exams? So these are so many exams for the law students they can go for. Then explore, find best fit, then where to get the course done, what are the exams, and then lots of competitive events which will keep on going on. And this is the my plan of a child. A child, after exploring, he can make his wish list of the careers, that these are the career which I want to do, few of them, right? Then these are the entrance exams I want to appear for. This is a list of the entrance exam he wants to appear for. And these are the colleges he wants to go for. So, and in addition to that, as per the new education policy, the child has to keep the record of the holistic kind of thing. So this whole information you can save here. This is the marks of the student for all the classes, subject-wise, and other activities he has done. Say he has done an internship in CCTV, he has done some agriculture internship, and there are aptitude tests, etc. record. There are other achievements, NTSC, KYP, and any other event, sports event he participated in the district championship, and every information of child is on this digital platform. And in addition to that, the very beautiful platform is taking care of the schools as well, the school principal and administration. They can manage lots of things from here. That show this is a school dashboard. A school can manage all the student on this portal. They can see that what the child is doing. This Nitin, he has taken the test or psychometric, he has completed his profile or not, he has taken the psychometric test or not, what stream is optimal for this student. The school can check as per the NEP. They have to check what is the numerical aptitude and everything. So this is the overall numerical aptitude of the school. Then they can check the class-wise numerical aptitude, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then they can go and inside the sections also. So this is for the administration. How many students have taken the psychometric assessment? How many have completed the profile? So in addition to that, they can keep a record of who are the champions in their school. And they can also keep the record of the alumnus. Like generally, a school lose the alumnus that where he has gone. Isha, she is a BA in psychology. She did from Bangladesh. That's a member. That's what she is. All this information. And in addition to that, what are the knowledge resources? A competitive event, school always want to participate. So there are lots of competitive events which keep on happening. So for example, there is some NTSC and all. These all the events are there. There is a way to apply all the information, notifications keep on coming to principal. See, these are the international Olympiad is coming from there. All the information about this available. So school can, because as per NEP, there is importance of such artistic processing is going to increase, and school will have to maintain the record of such things, and this is good for the child also. So this is a complete platform. A child can explore, a student can manage what their students are doing. So, and it's a mobile application, everything. So that's the portal which I wanted to share with you. That's how it works. And we are we are making we are developing it. We are developing it. Every day the new things are coming. So we are making it so interesting. The characters are coming, come and go. There are comic characters. I will like to engage myself. The report will be expert, expert from the parents will be able to understand what my child is, what he can do. That's the product which we are developing, and we have our product is one of its kind. It has never happened anywhere in the world that a psychometric assessment has been converted into a gaming format. And because it's very important to engage the child. So that's and as for new education policy, even before that also, it is important to choose the right in a right way. So that's we have been working, because I have been also the victim of the same earlier system. I wanted to go for I wanted to study economics, I wanted to study the political science, but the system did not allow me to do that. And now I'm an entrepreneur. I did not go to IIT. Being an entrepreneur, why did I go to IIT? Why should I go to the Excel corporate? I could have done the MBA if someone would have guided me. These are my
Right.
That's how it is. So as an educator, there's a responsibility also of all the educators out here. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Right, right. Thank you, Sunil ji. For that now, time for the questions. I would request all our key speakers once again a big thanks for joining and sharing your perspective. Now, I would request if you can take on the questions we have received. So, I would request Rashmi ma'am, if I may present the first question to you. Rashmi ma'am, do we have your presence?
No, I have not understood, sir.
Yeah, the question, Rashmi ma'am, the question has come from Miss Deepthi Israni. Deepthi ji is a PGT Commerce with Army Public School, Shankar Vihar, New Delhi. The question says, the question says, when all these subjects are being offered to all the students, how this would be manageable at the school front? How will the time be allocated to different subjects is going to be accommodated within the school timings?
First of all, I would like to say, where there's a will, there's a way. I think we must have that strong will, and definitely we'll find a way. So I don't think there will be any problem when NEP has been introduced. They must have, the MHRD must have thought about it, and at school level also, we will do whatever is the best. Maybe we can run 2 sessions more. Some teachers can come in the evening to teach those subjects like we do in the colleges, or maybe there are n number of ways where we can find solutions. A problem comes and we have to have a solution also to it. So
Right.
I don't think there will be any issue in that. We will be
Right.
able to manage.
We need to have that strong will. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
that is the key. Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi ma'am. Now I would request Urmila ma'am, if I may present this question to you. So, Urmila ma'am, do we have your presence? I would request Richa Prakash ji. Richa ma'am, do we have your presence if I may present this question to you?
Sorry, Mr. Rajul, could you please repeat the question?
Ma'am, this question has come from Miss Ruchika Sharma. She's a TGT Biology, again, Army Public School, New Delhi. The question says, if you can highlight those areas in NEP that includes inclusive education, that would, help us in achieving that inclusive education for all. If any 2 key highlights, Richa ji, how this NEP would help us in achieving inclusive education.
Particularly
Am I
as of
audible?
now, you see, it is talking about, kind of moving away from the idea over a period of time of the concept of inclusion or the Divyang. To make it a part of the system in such a way that we don't have to use the word also inclusive. That is how. And also, to build in the system where we are able to provide counseling for all our children. It is not only going to be meant for children with special needs, but counseling wherein we are able to help each and every child in their times of distress by analyzing and understanding the lacunas which are there in their day-to-day functioning. So of course, I do understand when we are looking at the broader level of inclusion, we are mainly, when we think about it, we are focusing on children with special needs, the Divyang, or with the special abilities, the challenge to children who are able to take up the challenges much more smoothly. But here we are, what I could understand that NEP is talking about bringing in everybody in a part of this concept of inclusion, wherein slowly and gradually we move away, from this category and categorization.
Right.
That is to
Thank
my
you.
best of understanding.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would request Garima ma'am, if I may present this one to you. Garima ma'am, do we have your presence? Okay, now, Homi ma'am, I would request if I may, present this question to you. The question is from Priyanka Pandey. She's a teacher with Jeevan Jyoti Higher School, Varanasi. The question says, how will NEP ensure holistic development of child and a child-friendly learning environment? If you can share two highlights from NEP.
Whatever you're teaching, teach it in such a creative way which is related directly to the child, be able to make connections, and have the same thing treated in different ways. Now, see, for example, suppose you're taking water. Now, the topic of water could be taken up in social studies, it could be taken up in maths, it could be taken up in languages, all other things. So you integrate it and make it more interesting. So you have all the 21st century essentials into it. It is creative, it is analytical, it is interdisciplinary, and you're relating it to real life. And then the child can also be asked to innovate and come out with their own experiences. Does that satisfy?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So, in fact, very senior educationist who participated few sessions back, she also said that, there is going to be a limit on resources, but creativity is always unlimited. So teachers can use those things. Teachers need to be innovative, and that is how, that is what we meant by training. So thank you, Homi ma'am. With this, Dr. Pandey, if I may present this one to you.
Please.
How do you think this NEP would help us in integrating vocational education?
Yeah, that is important question. And because vocational education country like India is very important to create a job, to create a new dimension in the education system. And what is going to happen, due to vocational education, the student will have some more creativity during the study, scientifically as well, and that is going to bring a new job perspective, skilled India, and hopefully confident India. This is my answer.
Thank you. New India, confident India, and more jobs. Thank you, Pandeyji. I believe you have taken these lines from Modi ji. देश में ये inspiring बातें हमारे right. So thank you for sharing these with us. Now I would request Jaswinder sir. Sir, if I may present this one to you. In fact, this has been a very regular question. So a lot of people are talking about English, the future of English in our country. A lot of people are also, assuming that English will get diluted. What are your assessment, Jaswinder sir?
There are two thoughts. Now, first, we are not going to dilute English, but we are going to give importance to Indian languages also. If there are two lines, you don't cut the other line to become big, you actually increase your length. So that's what we're talking about. English will not and need not be put aside. That's one important thing. The second point you have to understand is that we are becoming a global village. Today, India is trying to become the factory of the world. We are already back office of the work, and we're going to become the service industry of the world. If you have to cater to the world, and India has such a huge population. We can service the entire world even with our intellect also. But only intellect is not going to work. Only skill is not going to work. That communication is important, which is the world language. So English has to be done. I would point it here that where they've said that we can have English after 8th standard, which I don't think works, because at that age, acquiring a new language and excelling into that is going to be a challenge. And a lot of people are going to shy away. And the jobs will go to Cambodia, they'll go to Vietnam, right? So what we need to understand is we need to have that. Nowhere does NEP say that you cannot teach English. They always talk about three language. See, understand, somebody had beautifully explained that this three language, saying the local language, the classical language, and the foreign language, they're getting English into it, they're getting the local language into it, and they're getting Hindi or Sanskrit or Tamil into it, or things like that. So that is what is going to the people who have written this policy. They had a huge, difficult task taking care of everybody from north to south, east to west. So this formula has actually worked out for everybody. So it says have more languages. It doesn't say do not have English. So that will not be a problem at all. That's what I foresee. And parents themselves do not want that students should not be taught in English, because they know what they have lost out on. So that I don't think will ever happen.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Jaswinder sir. Now I would request Sunilji. Sunilji, a lot of people, as what question I asked from Rashmi ma'am, a lot of people are also talking about it. When students would have more options to select, don't you think it would create more confusion in terms of which career to choose from?
Definitely, it's not just about it's about the basically the options will increase. Definitely, it is going to increase the confusion. Even if you go on a clothes shop, if there is only one style is there is no confusion. There are multiple designs are there will be confusion. Similarly, there will be a definitely a confusion is going to increase, and a scientific way needs to be used, that how the child will get rid of that confusion. And there should be an engagement, a very engaging kind of platform where child himself can find out what I want to do, what I want to shortlist. So all those things, the technology can help here a lot. So, and definitely the confusion is going to increase, but if the scientific ways will be opted for, then the solution is there. That's what my.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunilji. And with this, we come to the end of this very special session. But before we end the session, I would request all our speakers if we can have your concluding remarks. And also, I have a very special request. We have established this very special practice during some of our last sessions, that while sharing your concluding remark, if you can also share one idea, one innovative thought that you would like to implement if you become Minister of Education. So, Homi ma'am, I'm sure you have got a lot of ideas when you are, sitting there. So I'll come to you one by one. I'll come to people randomly so that you cannot fix your answers. So I'll begin with Richa Prakash ma'am. So if you become Minister of Education, but first, please share your concluding remark, and what would be that idea, that priority? Richa ma'am.
My priority would be to stop the coaching institutes, because which is already, of course, being seen as a part of the vision. As I feel that more and more children are moving away from grades 11 and 12th especially, they are not interested in coming to school, and they are unable to develop themselves as a community person, because they all become very individual in their approach, because they are all going to tuitions, they are not too much interested in coming to schools, and thus they are not able to create that level of rapport amongst the children, that peer learning, peer growth, that is totally lacking, and it also hampers somewhere their social development.
Right.
Which, as if we see, each individual is a part of the nation. So that is in the long term hampering the growth of an individual with the sense of responsibilities and duties towards their nation. So that is something I think I would really like to do ASAP.
Absolutely. But many ministers, many politicians also own many coaching centers. So I'm